Days, honestly, nowadays, the days have kind of become not routine because it's still a little bit different, but going into tomorrow, you kind of know nowadays what you got on your agenda. You know what I'm trying to say? Just based off what you got going on.
Right.
Like, what does that look like from your point of view, like as a real estate agent?
Well, as a real estate agent,
correct.
You got to keep yourself accountable. So you always have some sort of plan in mind for each day.
Yeah.
Normally, what's a great habit since I started was before I go to bed is just writing down what I got to do the next day.
Yeah.
And then you pretty much build yourself a checklist of what you got to do and get done for that day. And then if you keep doing it that day, you're going to get a lot more stuff done just because you're keeping yourself accountable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's that compound interest of consistency.
Right, exactly.
Me?
Yeah.
I found success in that too, journaling, my task list for the day, having that set up.
But yeah, to tangent off of that, I have found that it doesn't matter what you're doing, right? There's core principles within everybody's actions as far as to be successful at whatever you want to do.
Right.
I believe that success is an individual thing. I think today a lot of people get too caught up in the definition of success versus defining their own definition of success.
Right.
If that makes sense. Your success in your realm may be different than my success in my realm and your success in your realm. But within all of those successes, there's core principles and core habits that all successful people within those industries have. And a lot of them come back to, like you were mentioning, the day before. I already have my day planned out. So like from my point of view in my community, I like to tell my community that you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems.
Right.
You have a system that gives you success. I have a system that gives me success within my own realm. And I think if everybody can individually define their own definition of success and then get back down to the systems they have to put in place on a day-to-day basis to achieve those, I think then people become more focused. Everybody's got goals.
Right.
What could you say as far as that, as far as goals go within being a real estate agent?
I think the most important thing is everyone's got those goals. They have them in their head, but they're not taking those actions to actually, they're not taking the most important step, which is just going. Correct. Just start. Correct. Just take the action.
Correct. You're never going to be ready.
You're never going to be ready. You're always going to be afraid until you just do it.
Correct.
And you may not be your best self at that moment when you're first starting, but best believe as you keep going on and keep following the steps that you're taking towards those goals and you keep taking action, you're going to get better on the way.
Correct.
No doubt.
And that's what success really is just going.
No doubt.
Until you've learned more, you've gotten better at what you do, and then all the little things that you thought before you started that you wanted started slowly accumulating to what you pictured and what you envisioned.
Yep. Right. I think we had talked about that earlier, about how with uncomfort comes growth, and you have to kind of stay in that uncomfortable place, because if you don't, you just stay stagnant. And like talking about how you should be yourself, but you don't want to be your old self. You want to keep trying to find the best version of you in that new self.
Yeah, we were talking about everybody says you want to be yourself, right?
Right.
But in reality, you might be yourself in the beginning, but at some sort of end, some sort of goal that you're going to hit, or what you see for success, you're going to be a totally different person. And you have to be a different person in order to reach that level of success.
100%.
If you're just being yourself and you're just, happy being that average Joe, you're just going to be, not as productive.
Right.
You're going to have to start building some sort of habit. Like we just said, you gotta take certain steps and you gotta learn certain things and get better at those things in order to accomplish what you're trying to do.
100%.
So,
and I think a lot of people, when they do start taking those new, those new chapters and those new journeys, they go into them kind of feeling like almost if you have like imposter syndrome, where it's like, okay, I'm about to start something new, right? But they have to grow into that new version of themselves. And when they start, they're kind of scared of the concept of, I'm not necessarily this right now, but this is what I want to be. So it holds them back from going into that new version of themselves in whatever area or arena they want to go into, because they're still holding on to something in the past You know what I'm trying to say? But
or they're comparing themselves to other people.
correct.
And they see that success in front of them, and they think, once they start, they might take in that important step to start, right?
Yeah.
But they don't see that success and that level of success that they're picturing in their brain, because they're seeing it every day.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not reaching it right away, right?
Correct.
But
They want that immediate feedback.
exactly, that gratification, immediate gratification, and everybody's going after that. When in reality, it takes a lot of no's to reach yeses.
Correct.
In sales, especially in my industry. And it takes a lot of learning and mistakes to get better. And then those mistakes, you're going to start learning and growing from those mistakes. And then eventually you'll reach that level of success that you're trying to get to.
I'm curious. Okay, so it takes the no to get the yes.
Right.
How are you turning that no into the yes? Like, what are you seeing on that side of things?
From my experience, when you get a no, the best thing to do is sort of do some sort of self-reflection on why did they say no,
Right.
or what I can do better.
It's a learning point.
What can I tweak in my communication that will provide better service for my client,
Right.
and also provide for myself better negotiation skills to not get that no and get more yeses.
It's never failure.
Right,
It's just
exactly.
learning.
Right.
No doubt. No doubt.
One thing in my arena, right, as far as our marketing agency goes, and then also with my personal health and development, is that one thing that I've changed and restructured within my sales tactic is I changed the concept of sales. Like, I don't like to come across as if, okay, I'm trying to sell you something, versus I've changed it into, okay, where can I give this person or this company and this business value? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So if I come up front with providing you value, I change it from, okay, I want you to buy this product, I change it to, let me see if I can get this person to invest in themselves and hopefully take the risk on allowing me to help them manage that investment in whatever arena that is, whether that's through my personal training or as far as growth, our growth partner agency, as far as allowing somebody to invest in themselves, right? Which in return is giving me money to manage their investment. When I focus on the customer, not necessarily myself and my product, those no's turn more into yeses, but those no's are also a yes, because it's still a win, because you still provided that person value. So I think a lot of people in this world are too caught up in themselves, and they're waiting for the world to give them value back in return without them giving value to the world.
Right, they're becoming very selfish.
Correct. You have to give to receive. You can't just expect people to give you money or give you value in this world and you're not giving any value or money back to. So I think if people change that inward look and start looking at the customer or at the world and figuring out where can I serve, I think then they'll start seeing those results within their own lives.
Right, and to piggyback off of that thought, I did read a quote the other day. The one who enlarges others will later enlarge himself. Correct. Which basically means that person that becomes unselfish and is trying to impact others in a positive way or sort of give value back to others,
Right.
will later receive
Abundantly.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
To receive more, you must serve more.
Exactly. To receive more, you must I'm sorry, what was that?
Serve more.
Serve more. Serve more.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
That's dope. That's dope. So as far as taking, as far as growth goes, right?
Right.
Within your, being a real estate agent, right? Is that the right terminology to use?
Right. Real estate agent.
Yeah.
Realtor.
What would you say? What's the correlation between business and your personal? Is there a correlation there? Can you see yourself show up in that world? Just a thought, if you could tangent on that. Yourself in relation to your career or your business.
Like how do my personal life and business life intertwine?
Are you building
they
the brand
different?
together? Yeah. Are you building the brand together or are they separate?
Right. And I think from the beginning I made a decision, especially with my personal social media pages. I made that decision to just intertwine both of them with my business and my personal life. And I think it just shows to my future clients and my friends and family and whoever comes across those pages that I'm not just all about business. I do have some sort of personal life. Everyone whether you're a mom or a dad, you have a family to go to. You know, I also have things to do. So, but at the same time, I'm gonna set up a schedule for my business, and you're gonna see both sides of me. You're gonna see, you know, the side that, you know, another life other than business. You know,
Right.
I feel like someone would rather connect with somebody that's more personable.
Yeah.
In that matter, you don't want to be just straight business all the time.
Right.
And how are you connecting with those people?
Right. Being relatable.
How are you touching them?
As far as that goes, you know, we were talking a little bit about social media. Now, how has social media impacted your business as well? Because a lot of people are still seeing social media as a tool to highlight their lives and not necessarily their arts, their business, their value. A lot of people don't highlight their value through social media. All they highlight is their lifestyle,
Right.
which isn't turning over to no product. What's your
Right.
thoughts on that in today's
And to
world
give you
and today's
credit.
market?
And to give you credit, bro, you've been doing a good job at that. Your content's been solid.
No, I appreciate that. And yeah, you're right. I think a lot of people, a lot of this influencer culture, a lot of people, you know, aren't really giving value. You know, it goes also into what is value to you? What does value mean to you? For some people, you know, a comedian value is just making other people laugh. And, you know, there's all types of influencers out there and business owners, but no matter what, in this day and age, if you're not on the internet, if you're not engaging with an audience in social platforms, you're taking steps behind in your business. You're not moving forward. You know, there's so much people you can reach through these social channels that, you know, with old businesses that, you know, don't really understand the internet, social media, they're losing out on millions of people they can really touch. And, you know, depending on what industry you're in, you might have a different conversion rate, but at the end of the day, whether it's 1% and you're reaching 1 million people, think
Right.
about what that 1% can do for your business.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
what's great is, you know, and it goes back into just starting. You know, you think it was just easy to get in front of a camera and start talking? You know, this isn't. It's not fun at the moment when you first start. It's not easy when you start, but you got to do it because you start overcoming that fear. You start becoming comfortable, and then you start becoming better, and it just keeps compounding until you're giving way more quality content out there to your clients. You're giving way more valuable information to your clients, which is the most important thing. Is just how you can provide value
Exactly.
to your clients and to the people that you touch.
Yeah.
Your perspective, because you just took a leap over there as well.
Yeah.
What's your experience been with that?
No doubt. You touched on it before. Like, at first you do kind of have that imposter syndrome, like, it's really not for me, you know. But like Hector just touched on, you get behind the camera and you just provide value and you just talk like this and chop it up, you know, kind of the game we're seeing and how we're providing value out here and then giving it back. 100%. I'm curious though, Hector. So I remember we had talked a couple weeks back, and you were saying you're one of the only people in your real estate firm, kind of pushing content and stuff like that. What's the importance of getting these properties, like the new marketing schemes behind social media now with real estate?
It just goes back into how many people you can reach. So. And you're right, my company isn't really, you know, into video yet. And you're starting to see these boutique brokerages and real estate companies that are way more into video, and they're reaching more people.
Right.
And it goes into even the recruiting aspect of these businesses. You know, how many people can you recruit if you're not even, you know, out on social media and providing, you know, good content, good value.
Right.
You know, especially for the younger crowd like us, our generation's coming up, you know, a lot of them are spending more time on social media than, you know, face-to-face interactions.
They all
so
100%.
Exactly. So, you know, you still want that face-to-face interaction to be, you know, good quality, but you want that same quality also, you know, on the internet, on these social platforms. And, you know, I'm pretty much the only agent right now, especially in my office, and also a lot of the other offices that is really putting out, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and really more engaging on these social platforms. And they actually asked me to speak on one of their marketing seminars and how it's impacted my business. And I did talk about like how friends and families do start to notice that how serious you're taking your business, and that's important. You don't want whoever's following you to think that you're not serious about the game you're getting into. So it's very important, absolutely, and it's creating a good impact for my personal brand, and also my personal growth especially is the most important.
100%. And just to kind of tangent off, kind of backtrack, both of you were talking about how when you first started, right, it was very uncomfortable, and it was kind of there was a fear there, and you touched on how after doing it you realized it really wasn't even as scary as you thought. I think that same concept goes into more than just hopping behind the camera. I think that just goes that same concept goes into people taking risk on their own lives. There's a lot of people, myself included, where I spent time more focused on the preparation than actually taking those actions, because the actions behind some of the thoughts or visions that you have for yourself do seem uncomfortable. But like you said, once you start taking them and you start building that trust and confidence with yourself, you realize that there's nothing really out here in your way but yourself and your own thoughts. On top of that, many people don't really care about you. I know that sounds weird, but you care more about you care about yourself more than other people genuinely care about what you're doing out here. And I think sometimes we let that get in our way as far as taking those risks on ourselves and some of the things we want to grow into because we care about what other people think we are. And sometimes you got to let go of old people and old communities to grow into your new one. You can't expect people that you touched, in your earlier ages of life, or not necessarily a different character, but just not necessarily the character that you've grown into now to see you as the same way you see yourself. So I think the most important part is to see yourself how you want to see yourself. Create the version of yourself that you want to create. Don't wait for somebody else to confirm you to do that. And I commend both of y'all on taking those risks within your personal life and within your businesses and brands. And to touch off the social media thing, we are the next level of consumers and producers. I'm 23. How old are you?
24, turning 25 this month.
And you're 22.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We can't be so narrow-sighted when it comes to business. There is a lot of business owners. There is a lot of people in the business realm that are older than us. We are young entrepreneurs. We are young businessmen, okay? So we have to set the stage for the future, because if we're only tying ourselves into the now, we will miss out on the future growth. You know what I'm trying to say? So even though some people may not understand the direction in which you're trying to go, you have to be okay with that. Right. Because that's the only way you're ever going to see any real growth or any real impact out here, is to do things that hasn't been done.
Against the norm.
Correct. So you got to go against the norm, but just find your own norm within the realm that you're doing and show up as yourself within there, however you want to show up as yourself. And don't care about what other people think, especially when you're doing it from the intent of good, when you're trying to serve the world out here from a good intent, not necessarily just all selfishly.
Right.
I think there's nothing wrong with doing anything that you want to do in this world, and however you want to do it,
Absolutely. No, I'm into that. I mean, and I want to piggyback on some things that you said. A lot of us get caught up in the preparation. Mm-hmm. We want all the perfect tools. We want all these little things before we start, but the most important thing is starting.
Right.
And no one's perfect. I think I'm a culprit. I'm a victim of that. There was things I wanted before I started doing content, or you get caught up in seeing other people that, like I said, you start looking at other people's success and you're comparing it to yourself, and then you start getting caught up in like, oh, he has all these other things, he has more money to invest into his business, all these little things, all these little tools. But in reality, you just need to start, because the most important thing is having that good intent and giving that value back to whoever you're trying to show it to. Yep. So absolutely, man, that's
a lot of these people, it's the perception of like a lot of these people that you look up to, they're not better than you. They're just ahead of you. You know?
Absolutely.
They're just ahead of you on that journey. And you can catch them and pass them. You just got to keep going. Let that consistency compound.
Yes, sir.
And I think that comes back to having gratitude. I think if you show a little bit more gratitude out here, as far as I'm grateful for exactly where I'm at and the things I have, not necessarily of the things I don't have, I think you don't care about who's ahead of you. I think you just continue to compete against yourself every day, and you'll show up to your own definition of success. I think the world is too tailored to a quota success. If I'm not driving a Lamborghini, if I don't have the best looking man or woman, or if I don't have the most money, if I don't have this crazy lifestyle, I'm not successful. That's not true. That's not true. You could be a construction worker and you're still successful because you're doing what you love and you can provide for yourself and your family. I think money doesn't define success. I think the individual defines success. So I think as an individual, you need to define your own success and start striving for that. And on your road to that, don't get distracted by other people's quote unquote success, because that's theirs. That doesn't mean that has to be yours, because then you start to lose your own self-worth because you keep comparing your road and your, to somebody else's. Where if you just continue to chase your own best version of yourself, you'll always be happy no matter where you're at, because you know you're right where you're supposed to be and you're headed to where you want to be from whatever angle that is. You don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be a millionaire. You really don't even have to make money. You could like going out here planting trees for nothing, and that's what you feel makes you happy and successful. And
Absolutely.
Nobody should be able to tell you that you're not successful. You tell yourself you're successful, and you reach out to whatever best version that you have within your head.
Absolutely.
Wherever you're at.
Right. Success and happiness is going to be different for everybody.
Correct.
And, there's so many definitions for success. I mean, as an agent, if you're already taking the time and effort to, drive around neighborhoods and, get out of your car, walk up to a door and knock on it and talk to somebody, you should pat yourself on the back. You're already ahead of so many other people. You should be grateful. Mm-hmm. You should self-reflect every day on all the little things in your life that you should be grateful for.
The positives.
And exactly, you should give yourself a lot more credit, because there's people that, that are not doing what, like I said, there's so many agents that, don't put that time and effort. You can say you're a real estate agent, but you're just, sitting at home, in front of your computer, and you're not going out to build relationships. You're not, you're not out there networking and trying, putting the work in to find that new client, that new relationship that is going to lead to more conversions over time. So
yeah, how are the cold calls and the cold knocking on doors? How's that going for you?
A lot of people say it's easy, but in the reality, it's not easy, and it goes back into saying like just starting is the most important thing, and then also giving yourself a consistent schedule to follow through with those short-term goals that are going to lead to those long-term goals that you're looking after. So, it's not easy. I mean, you're going to get, angry people on the phone that are going to tell you no. We don't want to sell your house, but the most important thing, like Malik has said, having good attention behind your words, making sure you're not, it's not all about, the bills, the money. Just having a conversation sometimes you should be more grateful for that.
Yeah, offer them real value.
Not a lot of people are getting in front of each other and, having that face-to-face conversations nowadays anymore.
Those personable skills are dying.
I think you appreciate that more when you become, an entrepreneur. You're getting into creating your own small business, whether that be real estate or a different industry. You become way ahead of the game because you just start learning these personal skills that we're losing over generations and generations right now.
How to communicate.
How to communicate.
And those in-person touches usually turn out to be the best ones.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people don't even like to cold call. For them, it's just door knocking, because they're so much more comfortable to the face-to-face interaction. And then there might be people that don't care, or they're just more comfortable being on the phone with somebody than in person. It depends on your personality. Everybody's personality is different. Everybody's style is going to be different. The way you go about it, it's going to be your way. But the question is, are you going to follow through? You know, are you going to do it? Do the work, follow the steps.
Yeah, to tangent off that, like you said, everybody's way, everybody's style is going to be different. And I think that is a missing piece within the business world. And I think originality is one of the things that will separate you when you're going to make money, because obviously business is about being profitable. Let's not get it confused. When we're talking about business, we're talking about the relationship between service, product, and money. But I think the communication and the people skills will separate you in that arena, because it is missing. Everything out here is so scripted. Everything's so